honored, so blessed to be here. What better way to start 2023?
Welcome to NatCon 2023. Let's go!
This is my first event.
This is my second big event.
And I wish that you could feel the energy in this room.
You need this opportunity.
I believe you can do it.
Why not you? Why not now?
Don't miss another one. Get to the next big event.
You should be here.
You have a chance to make it big.
Your sentences become your sentences.
It's like going to a Broadway show, like multiple Broadway shows in one weekend.
It doesn't get better than A View from the Edge with Marcusetta.
It's funny, you're gonna laugh, you're gonna cry, you're gonna pee your pants, you're gonna make new decisions coming out of there.
Absolutely gonna love it, your team is gonna love it. This event is one that you cannot miss. Get your ticket, we'll see y'all there.
What's holding you back? What is your problem? What's stopping you from living the life God intended you to live? You need to step up right now. This isn't just a seminar. This is your life.
Hello, Alliance family. I have great news to share with you. The question is, where are we going in 2023? Your hint is I'm doubling down that this is going to be the best Alliance trip ever. Get it? We're going to Dublin, Ireland. Then we're going to Killarney, Ireland. Oh, a dream come true. All it is 235,000 credits, and you get 10 days. Let me tell you something. You get to the airport and we got you, baby. Luggage, airline, snacks, transportation, hotel, food, entertainment. It's gonna be on, baby, in Ireland for the Alliance, baby. Have you ever heard somebody say, I'm so happy, I'm gonna do the Irish jig. We're gonna get to do the Irish jig in Ireland, baby.
Welcome to Wednesday Call Live. Now, let's hear it for our special guest host, Stephen Davies.
Welcome to the Wednesday Call. I'm so excited to get to host this week. Let me tell you something. Coming out of NatCon, this is the most excited I can remember being. Like literally, I'm talking to Holly about it. I'm like, do you remember the last time I was this excited? I cannot remember the last time I was this excited. National Convention was insane. It was insane good. Guys, the stuff I've seen, here's what I've seen. I've seen people go through major emotional changes coming out of NatCon. I've seen people go through major mentality changes coming out of NatCon. And here's the crazy thing. I was telling my team this on Monday. I always look for barometers or for measures that tell me how a team is doing. And one of those I love to look at is, what do we do after an event? In other words, do we walk the walk that we just got done talking the talk to? And let me tell you, as far as the reports I see on our team, it is gone crazy production-wise. So it's only going to get crazier and crazier. We got a view from the edge coming up, which every time I watch that intro, like it's crazy how many times I've watched that promo video, because it just gets me fired up. Like, it's like, hey, watch that promo video before you do anything important, because it'll get you amped up. I am so excited for that. We moved a ton of tickets for that. And, you know, the moving the tickets for it, it's not just the biggest indicator of growth, right? Like, it's crazy predictable. When Nick Greco and Mike Guerra and Danny Hoyt and Rachel Midtune, when all those guys came on and just started passing people right and left, it was because they were bringing masses to convention. It's the most predictable thing. But not only is it a predictable indicator of growth, for me, it's a heart thing. It's a heart thing, because I look at the people that sign up and I go, that's one more person. That's one more person that could absolutely change the entire trajectory of their life. So for me, it's more than just a business metric. It's a heart metric. So all those things, what I'm talking about is January, February, March, going into April, going into Ireland, which, by the way, all my guests are going to Ireland. I can't wait to go to Ireland with you guys. I'm telling you, Ireland is one of me and Holly's favorite places on planet Earth. I'm just telling you, it's going to blow your mind when you get to Ireland. When we do the Gap of Dunloe on the extension, it's one of the most hauntingly beautiful things you will ever, ever, ever see. I'm just telling you. So we got that. Then we're going right into the view. I'm telling you that all the reasons for excitement, it's not just a what do you call that thing where you take something that's not a real thing, but they do it to a placebo. There we go. Thank you. It's not just a placebo. It's real measurable metrics that we're talking about here. So crazy, crazy excited. Here's what I want to share with you today. I want to start with talking about how we turn excitement into achievement. And the reason I want to do that is because I'm excited, you're excited, everybody that was at NatCon is excited. So what I want to make sure we do is turn that excitement into achievement, right? Often excitement doesn't turn into achievement, does it? It turns into something else called disappointment. And I'm going to show you how that works in a minute. And then what I want to do is give you 6 quick things. And then after we do those, I've got the guests specifically lined up. They're all at very different points in the journey. And what they're going to share is going to help you fill in the blanks on some of those 6 things we're going to talk about. But let me show you typically what happens with excitement. I'm going to do my drawings. All right, here's typically what happens with excitement. Go to my notes app. Here's what typically happens with excitement. You get excited. And then eventually what happens is that excitement drifts into interest. In other words, the level of excitement comes down. It goes from, oh my God, I'm going to tear this thing up, to, yeah, I'd love to do that. Like, it just falls down. This is how treadmills turn into coat racks, right? We get the treadmill. We're excited. I'm about to be in the best shape ever. I can't wait to go to the beach. Man, everybody's going to be looking. I'm telling you, this is the year. And then, yeah, I mean, I'd really like to get that done. And then here's what happens. It turns into this ugly thing called disappointment. And here's what happens with disappointment. It can tend to compound, meaning you do it once, you do it twice, you do it 3 times, and then here's what happens. We stop believing in excitement. Does that make sense? Like, we stack up enough times that excitement has turned into disappointment, and we go, guess it's just not meant to be. Or we start saying things like, well, I don't want to get wrapped up in that again. I just, disappointment erodes belief in future excitement. So here's what we've got to do. You and me both, coming out of NatCon, we've got to take the excitement, and here's the progression. Turn it into action. That's a terrible arrow. That looks like that arrow, like I bought it on the dented arrow aisle. All right, then that action, I know what happens. When you come out of NatCon, an event like NatCon that was not only inspirational, but it's crazy instructional, right? You come out of NatCon and you take that stuff, turn it into action, it will become achievement. Now, here's the cool thing. Just like we talked about how disappointment can compound and affect your belief in future excitement, here's the same thing. The more it happens, right? The more it happens, now our belief in future excitement is stronger. This is how people build momentum in their lives. Does that make sense? This is how some people build momentum in their lives versus others just slog along, disappointment. And other people are like, oh my goodness, the trajectory of my life right now is insane. I'm excited, I'm engaged. That's how that happens. It's one of these two situations constantly going on. So here's what I want to talk about today real quick, and then I want to get my guests to help fill the blanks. All right, here's what we need to do. 6 things to help make sure that we turn action into excitement. Number 1, clearly define what it is you are excited about. This is where we go from just being, I'm fired up. I'm fired up. I'm fired up. That we go from that to, let me tell you why I'm excited. At National Convention, I learned this. I came to believe this. I now clearly believe that. I feel this. What is it clear? See, we've got to define it, because here's what happens. Clarity creates movement. When we're clear about what it is we're excited about, that's going to help us create movement. If we're just vague, if it's just blind excitement and we're just like, that was the best event I've ever been to, I'm so excited, but we don't know clearly why, nothing's going to scream at us to do it. Does that make sense? But if we come out of NatCon and we go, I learned how to sell at a higher level than I ever thought possible. I now understand not only the power of depth, but how to do it. I now clearly feel in my heart of hearts that I too can go partner at Integrity. That these are the specifics we want to hammer down. What are the specific things that you're excited about coming out of NatCon? Then number 2, we connect that to the future you want. So we take this thing. What are we clearly excited about? What did I take away that I now have this piece of information. I now have this piece of inspiration. And then we connect it to the future we want. So let's say we went to NatCon. One of the things we're clearly fired up about is I learned how to sell at a much, much higher level. Then we go, that helps get me to issue paying $400,000 this year. I personally issue pay $400,000 this year. My family will be in a whole other stratosphere come January. Come next January, we'll be in a whole other stratosphere. If that other piece, now I understand depth. I not only know why, I know how, and I'm going to attack it. Then we go, that connects to me going agency manager, me going executive vice president, me going board member, me going partner at Integrity. What does that future look like? Remember, a compelling future creates crazy pull. A compelling future creates crazy pull on us. So that's why we got to take the specific things we're fired up about, and then we connect them to see how that connects to the future we want. Then we do number 3, work back. So in number 2, we go to the future we want, right? We're there. I'm an Integrity partner. Oh my God, I see it. I see the video on Instagram. Brian Adams is doing his thing where he says, I'm partnering with TDG Financial. Like I was just seeing it. I feel it. All right. I'm there. I see how the stuff I learned at convention gets me there. Now what I've got to do is work back from there. In other words, it's like the drive from here to Burlington. This is all stuff I shared with my team on Monday. When people say I could do that drive in my sleep, you ever say that about a certain drive? I'm certain I have done the drive from Burlington in my sleep. That's how many times I've been from Asheville to Burlington. But here's the thing. I can tell you exactly what I'm going to see along the way, right? I know I'm going to go down the mountain and end up in Old Fort. I know then I'm on to Morganton, then I'm on to Hickory, then I'm on to Statesville, then I'm on to Winston-Salem, then I'm on to Greensboro, then I'm into Burlington. I know what I'm going to see along the way. I know where the rest areas are. Does that make sense? So what we've got to do once we get to that, we see how the stuff we learn connects to the future we want. Then we got to work back and go, well, what's got to happen along the way? So if I'm newer and I'm going, partner at integrity is what I want. Brian Adams' talk had me ready to just jump through the ceiling. I want partner at integrity. I see what I got from convention, how it'll get me there. I'm picturing myself there. Now, what has to happen along the way? Well, one of the things is I'm going to have to go board member because you're just not to get the volume I need to go partner. I'm going to have to go board member. I'm going to have to go executive vice president. I'm going to have to go. So what is that? So what's that journey look like? In other words, what are the mile markers? And if you need help with this, your growing up line can help you with this. Somebody who's further along in the journey. Make sure it's somebody a lot further along in the journey, right? Like I love marriage advice from people who've been married 52 years. When I'm selling and someone's been married a long time, I'm like, hey, while I got you on the horn, give me your top three, right? Holly and I have been married 23 years. It's not that someone that's only been married 24 years can't help. It's just they don't know as much as someone that's been married 52 years. Makes sense? So who's the furthest along the journey you can get with? What are those mile markers? Tell me the mile markers I got to hit. Now, number 4, and this is where the back half of this call is going to help tremendously. Once we know that, we got to make a list of what actions and by when. So we're seeing that journey. We know the mile markers and we go, okay, so in order, I know to get from my house to Burlington, the first thing I had to do is go down Old Fort Mountain. So I go down Old Fort Mountain. I know I've got to do that. So if I'm going to go agency manager, that's part of my journey to integrity partner. If I'm going to write 400,000 this year, what are those specific actions and by when? If I'm going to write 400,000 in personal production this year, the very first specific action I've got to take is to get the biggest GMR I can possibly get to get the fire started. I was coaching Ryan Lewis last night on this, and I said, don't wiggle up in your GMR. It's always easier to wiggle down. In other words, don't go, okay, I got 500. Now I'm going to try 550 and see if that gets me closer to 40,000, right? And then I'm going to try 600 and see. No, brother, go to 1,000. It's way easier to go, okay, that is way more leads than I need to get to the 40,000. So I'm going to, let's Ashland, let's see what 800, it's easier to come down. So go crazy. So if the thing I'm going to do is go to be a $400,000 producer this year, what action? I got to get a GMR. I've got to change my schedule so that I have room for to run 30 appointments. Does that make sense? Same deal with going partnered integrity. What actions do I need to take by when? I need to start building a staff immediately. Why? Because it's going to take you time to find quality people. At convention, people were like, your slides were amazing. And I was like, and I didn't do them. If I had to do the slides for my presentation, I know exactly how many slides there would be. 0. Why? That is not in my strength zone at all. But I've got incredible staff. Does that make sense? That's part of my journey to partner. I've got to invest in travel and to see people. I've got to, if I'm going to go agency manager, I've got to go see Bob in Missouri this month. And then I've got to go see later in the month, I've got to go see Jane in Atlanta. Whatever that strategy is, right? What actions do I need to take and by when? Number 5, what will number 4 eliminate? In other words, you and I can't go integrity partner doing everything I'm doing now. I'm going to have to do some different things. That is going to come at the cost of some things. So I've got to decide what it is I'm going to eliminate so that I can do the things I need to do to go partner, right? In order to do the things in number 4, I've got to make a list of number 5. Here's why a list is so important. I want you to eliminate the right things. Broke people, they have these stories. They love it, right? Anytime you start talking about building a business and someone who's just negative and septic, they're going to be like, well, so-and-so, he built that big old business, but then he lost his family, lost his health, lost his car, lost his dog, lost his favorite mug. I mean, they're gonna. You keep going because they'll keep listing stuff. Lost all the tangerines he ever owned. I swear to God, it was the terriblest, and that's all because he built a business. That's not why. Here's why: they eliminated the wrong things. It's like what Andy talked about on TWC last week about me not. I think it was TWC last week. It was on one of his recent calls. He talked about how I didn't know that he liked football, and he didn't know that I liked football when we first got going in the alliance. Why? Because we both had eliminated that from our life so that we could build our businesses, but keep the important stuff. Does that make sense? In other words, build a big business, keep watching all the TV you're watching. You're going to neglect something that is more important, right? Your health, your marriage, whatever. So make a specific list. And then the last thing, because I want to get to my guests, advertise and act through the future you. I'm always mystified when people can write and talk at the same time. I don't know, like, genetically if it's just not in the making for me, but y'all don't understand paper apps and selling. That's difficult for me. Why? 'Cause I don't know, for whatever reason, I lack the gene that allows me to write and talk at the same time. So if you ever see me writing stuff and you wonder why I'm pausing, I'm not pausing for emphasis. I'm pausing to write. So if you can write and talk at the same time, you're already further along the journey, friend. Let's get it. All right. Advertise and act through the future you. What does that mean? Advertise. Tell everybody about number 2, the big bad future you. Tell everybody about that. Tell them all. Tell them all. Tell them. Why? Here's why. Advertisement creates accountability. Advertisement creates accountability. The more people I tell about this big bad future me, the harder I got to work because dadgummit, I ain't going to lose face. You know what I'm saying? I don't know about you. But me, I'm not personally competitive. I just prefer winning, and I become furious when I do not. Holly says you're competitive. No, I don't. I just much prefer winning and become furious when I don't. If I advertise the big bad future me, you better believe I'm gonna bring the heat because I've got to. I put myself on the spot, so I got to perform. Advertisement creates accountability. The second part is act. Here's the problem. We go back to what we're clearly excited about. We see how that connects to the future us. We've worked back from the future. Now we've got to do some things different than we've been doing. So I've got to act as the $400,000 personal producer that's already inside me. It just hasn't shown itself to the world yet. So I've got to pull the trigger on the giant GMR. I've got to act like an integrity partner and travel to see more people, get hands-on, help them every way I can. I've got to act through that. I've got to invest more. Does that make sense? So that's why 6 is advertise and act. I'm telling you that if you do those 6 things, all right, stop sharing. If you do those 6 things, I'm telling you that you will 100% turn that excitement into action, into achievement. And when you do that, even if it is the first stack you put on belief and excitement, you're starting to build momentum and belief and excitement. The world around us is dead as far as excitement. Well, they get excited just about crazy things. But as far as real excitement and the important things, they just don't have it. They die at 40 and then they just file the paperwork about 45 years later. They try to ease into death without getting bruised again. But you and I, we're going to put more levels of belief and excitement over this next quarter, over this next year. Guys, I just can't wait to watch the journey with you guys. I love it. All right, so I've got guests, and here's my 3 guests. I've got Adam Burge, who was on the call last week with Andy. And guys, thank you for all the texts you sent me bragging on Adam. I already love Adam. I love Adam and Cindy, but y'all made me love Adam and Cindy even more last week, all those texts. I shared some of them with Adam. I didn't share all of them, just quite frankly, because we both had a lot of work to do, and that'd be a lot of screenshots. Dude, he killed it. And so here's that. Adam's only been with us 1 year, 1 full calendar year. It's right about 2 years, coming up on 2 years in actual time. But his last year, 2022, was his first full calendar year. And if you were at NatCon, you know that Adam Burge absolutely had to pay for overweight luggage on the way home. Why? Because of all the awards he won. I mean, massive rookie year. Then I've got someone a little further along the journey. I've got Mimi Ramiro. And I'm telling you, I was telling Mimi what Mercedes said about her. Mercedes was like, does Mimi live in California or Florida? Who knows? Something like that. And I was like, yeah, that's leadership. That's leadership. By the way, if anybody thinks that Mimi's moved to South Florida simply because she's there so much with her people helping them, she still lives in Southern California. She's just making that trip to help people. So I've got her at 6-year mark. And then I've got my buddy and future View from the Edge speaker, Jeremico Edwards, who's been with me 12 years. So what I want to do is give you a variety of people along the journey so that their answers, as we get to what actions do I need to take, as you're making notes, their answers will come from those variety of lengths of the journey with us. So if you're brand new, you got someone. If you've been with us maybe 3 or 4 years, and now after this event, you're like, I'm going big, dadgummit. Can you see why I've set this up like this? All right. First off, let's get Adam Burge on. Adam, I'd like to ask you a question. Are y'all seeing Adam? I just want to make sure. Somebody text me. I don't see it I don't hear Adam.
Yes, I see him, Stephen.
You see him?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Adam, here's my question for you. What 5 things would you go back and convince the you that was getting started of? In other words, now almost 2 years in, what would you go back to that version of you and say, dude, you've got to believe this. If you don't believe this, let me tell you why you need to believe this, and just hammer them. What would those things be, brother?
Yeah, I'd say the first one is you can do this. That's key. To be fair, 1.5 years ago, I was dealing with a lot of health problems that just were draining me mentally, emotionally, physically. And I just had a lot of self-doubt, and I just didn't know if I could do this or not. And so I kept telling myself, I don't think I can do this. This isn't going to work. That was just toxic thinking. It wasn't true. It wasn't helpful. It robbed me of my joy when I was having successes. I wasn't able to enjoy them as much as I should have been able to because I was all wrapped up in self-doubt. The other thing I'd want to convince myself, my old self, of is the importance of routine. Do your dials, have your dial days, do your dials, exercise self-discipline, focus on the things that you need to do in order to have success each week. So do your dials, rehearse your in-home presentation. I wish I had done more of that. Instead of learning on the fly, I wish I had just taken some time to really listen to the training that you were giving me about how to do in-home presentations, for example, and I would have gotten better at doing that more quickly. Also, what I wish I had done is focus in the home more on value and not on price, because sometimes I'm a very logical thinker when it comes to budget and money and the like, and the problem I ran myself into is I was helping others think the same way. And in the home, that's not the correct way to think. If you do that, then you're going to have a lot of chargebacks. You're going to have a lot of people that are making budget decisions instead of important decisions that are going to affect themselves and their future and their family's future. The last thing is learn to close the sale earlier in the presentation. I was so focused on my killer presentation that sometimes I wouldn't take yes for yes. And sometimes when people are ready to buy, they're ready to buy, stop talking. Move on to the sales portion of it, because if you don't do that, you're going to waste a lot of time unnecessarily, not only yours, but that of your clients as well. And you're going to talk yourself out of a sale. So when people are ready to buy, just move on to that closing of the sale. A killer sales presentation is not the most important thing.
I love it, man. Self-doubt. Hey, let me tell you something. If you deal with self-doubt, Andy taught me a long time ago. He said, if you start to feel something funny, call someone yummy. In other words, if I'm dealing with it, have a plan. And I know you've got that plan. You've been executing it. So if that's you out there and Adam said that and you were like, dude, that's me, then just have a plan. Have a plan. Like I was talking with someone on Katz's team one time, and they said, I just don't know what to do when I get discouraged. I was like, dude, you got Adam Katz. like that would be the first thing I would do is call Adam and be like, Adam, I'm discouraged. And Adam's going to love you into self-belief again. I promise you. Right. So have a strategy like that. I love leave your wallet in the car. Leave your wallet in the car. I had to learn that too. And I wasn't even broke. Like we were looking up at broke going, baby, someday we're going to get back up there. I mean, that's where we were. So my mindset was like, why would anybody buy a policy for more than about $40 or $50 a month, right? Mm-hmm. Leave your wallet in the car. And then the last thing you said, crap, I just forgot, man. What was the last thing you said?
Close the sale earlier.
Oh, yeah. When they're ready to buy, let them buy.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Ma'am, please put your checkbooks away. I have not finished my presentation yet. I love it. All right, Adam, I appreciate that. Did you have any others? I'm sorry, I think I might have jumped in there.
I'm gonna save some really good stuff for later on.
Okay, yeah, I cannot wait for you to share the strategy that we're going to share on the next set of questions. Seriously, if you got someone on this call that's in the field, make sure they're paying attention. Like text them, like, hey, don't be eating nothing. Be ready for this. I'm telling you, this next question, we're gonna save you money. We're gonna save you time. We're gonna help you win faster. All right, same question, Mimi. Talk to us. Now Mimi is talking to 6 years ago Mimi. What is now Mimi going to tell 6 years ago Mimi?
Oh boy. Well, what I would tell Mimi from 6 years ago, Stephen, is this is a business. You have to invest. And by that I mean you need to invest time and money. So I will invest more in leads. I used to do the really old leads. Nothing to say about the leads, the old leads, because you can make millions, like people for big annuities on old leads. But hey, it's what you guys said. You either have time or you have money. So I was stingy. I didn't like to invest a lot of money on leads. And I didn't get the result that I needed to do. So I would tell my old self, invest in more leads early. It's a business. If you don't have people to talk to, you can't sell. You can't help. So you need that. Investment is key because you need it. A lead is an invitation to talk to a client who's a potential buyer. If you don't have enough, how are you going to sell? That's one thing. Because I used to do $50 a week, and then I thought I was good. I'm investing, Stephen. What are you talking about? $50.
Like you would invest the whole 50?
Yeah, just 50, the whole 50. Yeah, that wasn't too bad, right? $50. So, and then the other thing I would tell myself is have a more consistent schedule. Because without a schedule, like Adam was saying, the routine, you can't be successful. If you go to a doctor, they have a schedule. When they're going to do checkup, when they're going to do just regular visit, you need a schedule.
Yeah, if your doctor says come by anytime, you need a different doctor.
Exactly. That's the thing. That's the mindset too. I needed to have, Stephen, because and then I tell all my agents about it too. When you're calling people to book an appointment, if you say, well, I can come at any time, that's not good. You're not busy. You're giving the wrong impression. You need to have a schedule. It's not for the client, for yourself. Because when you think you're busy, like pretend you're busy, then you will be busy. Because your mind doesn't know the difference, right? So I will have a more consistent schedule. I think that's one thing I pick up a little bit early on. Like I had a schedule in my kitchen. Once I pick up that clue, I'm like, oh, damn, I need a schedule, especially if you're busy. As a professional, you need a schedule. I had brand new kids and stuff like that, doctor's visit, and you need to organize your stuff or else you're going to work whenever you can, which is not going to get you much results. So you need to be organized and have a schedule. And then make more dials. You need to do the 300. You mean $300 a week? Yeah, 500, whatever it takes. Whatever it takes to get the job done. That's one thing. When I learned that, it's not I did $50 or I call all my leads. No, you need to keep calling, because the more you do it, like I was doing some with Merv just right now, because he's kind of having a little bit of struggle on the phone. And then I was like, let's dial. And I think he was having fun seeing me getting hung up on.
It's like, oh, yes, maybe got hung up on. It's normal. Money Merv out there.
They were cussing me out. Oh man, but he has a lot of leads. I said, Merv, I never said it was gonna be easy. I said it's simple. You still have to do your numbers. If you call all these leads, there's no way somebody's not gonna book.
Right.
And 5 minutes later, he booked one. So you just have to make the required amount. There is no, oh man, what's your numbers? My numbers are my numbers. They're not yours. I had to learn that. So my numbers are my numbers. I will get hung up on all of us, we get it. So just do your numbers. So that's one thing I learned early on. The other thing, Stephen, I would tell my old self is hire staff. Don't do the $10 work that Andy and you guys always talk about. Why do I want to call the carriers? I love them, but it's too much time wasted on the phone trying to talk to them. Hire somebody to do that for you. I was on someone's case earlier today. I was like, I give you my assistant. Why do you need to call the carriers? Hang up that phone. Because I learned I wasted too much time being my own assistant. So I stopped doing that. I don't want to be an assistant. I make more money than that, doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So I don't need that. So that's why I'm trying to get my agent to get out of that mindset. So I let them use my assistant to do the paperwork for them, the admin work for them, so they can focus on the bigger picture, which is sell, recruit, and build. So I literally have them hang up the phone, calling the carriers, and then send it to my assistant to take care of you. You need staff because you don't have enough time in the day to make 500 dials and go on 20, 30 appointments in a week and still do the paperwork. So that's something I will have changed a long time ago. I mean, early on, I've changed that, but when I started, that's something I needed to be able to do that. And then I would say my last one, Stephen, will be communicate more with you. That will be my thing. I'm being blunt honest. I am a go-getter. I believe I can do it, but I had to learn that maybe the time you're gonna take to figure it out on your own, you could get the answer from Stephen or from anybody. So I had to learn that. And then I don't know if you remember when I learned it, I called your office. It's just when you have the workers mentality or corporate America mentality, it messes you up. I didn't know if I come to you directly because I wasn't always direct to you. So I didn't know that I was doing the right thing. I was scared I was going to get somebody in trouble. You remember that? And I called and I said to your assistant, and I was like, if somebody don't help me, I'm about to quit.
Yeah, no, I remember that day because I was ticked off. I had to climb all the way off of my throne way up there and come down to take a call from one of the oof.
I learned, and
I think I probably laughed at you when you were did I laugh on the phone that day? I kind of in my head I was laughing.
You were laughing. Oh, you like, oh, she's still around.
Call me anytime. I will help you. I want you to win. I'm not like sitting in a corner office hiding from you.
You know, I didn't know it wasn't about skipping levels. It's just getting the help that you needed. So from that point, you're like, Mimi, you are coming to California too, and then you say, let's talk. I will do whatever you need, whatever it takes to help you succeed. I will do that. I'm always grateful for that, Stephen. That conversation, I will never forget it. And that's how we started talking and working together. And it keeps me around. I'll tell you that much. So reach out to your upline is very important, apparently. So that's what I would tell my old staff.
I like it. I like it. So if you're new, listen to Mimi now. She's been at 6 years. Does that make sense? Like, life is too short to learn everything firsthand. And that's really the point of the call today was I want to help fill in those actions. What are those things that we need to start doing? What are those mile markers we need to start hitting to get you further along the way? So those are all those things. What she's talking about on leads is dead on. Dead on. And I get it. In the beginning, I'm telling you, I was the same way. I was like, but you just believe in abundance. You have to believe in abundance before you can become abundance. Does that make sense? Like you have to believe in it before you become it. You won't become abundance and then believe in it. It doesn't work that way. Thank you, Mimi. All right, let's go another 6 years into the future. Jeremico Edwards, 12 years in, brother. 12 years in, and we have been all over the world together.
Oh yeah.
And now we're going to Ireland together. I'm going to take you to the Guinness factory.
The Guinness factory. What is that for?
Huh? Guinness.
What's there?
Ireland. Well, hey, you know what? It'll be surprised then.
Okay. I'm gonna look it up.
Just meet me in the hotel lobby at 3 a.m. on Thursday and dress nice.
That's right.
All right. 12 years into the future, Jeremico, talk to you today. Like, if you're starting up again today, what's a 12-year version of you going to tell you to do? What are those things?
Man, I thought about this long and hard, Stephen. So the first thing I would tell myself is I can build wealth. No, I can build this business big and fast. When I came into this business, I used to hear people say stuff like, it takes 10 years to build a business. And, it takes years for this. And I would listen.
If it ever works out at all, it's going to be a long time.
Exactly. Right. So I would listen to people like that as opposed to seeing what's in front of me. So I would see people winning and hitting agency manager fast and, building these big businesses after a year. But I would listen to people go, yeah, it takes years. So I would just set my mind on years as opposed to I can build a business in 6 months or a year.
That's a good one, brother. That is a good one.
Yep. Number 2 thing is I'm worthy of great wealth. Typically people don't follow, we could do the phone scripts in home. A person won't follow it if they don't feel like they're worthy. So I would go back and tell myself that I'm worthy of great wealth. Thus, I can follow a system that's going to get me wealthy. So, I had to work. It took me years to work on my mindset of being worthy to receive wealth and, to be a good leader. So I would tell myself that. Number 3, I would tell myself that I'm a good leader and people need a good example. So people need good leadership. So not only did I need leadership, but I had to grow. I had to be a good follower to become a good leader myself to set a good example. So it's like, seeing people's reaction, like when they said I was going to be a speaker and everybody who came up to me and said, man, I've been looking forward to seeing you speak and everybody fired up. I'm thinking, wait a minute, if I had became a bigger leader 8 years ago, where would I have been? So I would tell myself, become a leader as fast as you can. Be a good follower. That way you can become a leader as fast as possible because people need an example to follow. And the last thing actually 2 more things. Recruit before I get going. If you stick with this business, you're guaranteed success. So you don't have to wait to recruit. So I recruited Rogers. He was like my first recruit, but then I was like, okay, let me get better before I do massive recruiting. But then it's like you see people like Nick Greco come in and they just bring in this team and you like, wait a minute. So they didn't even know that much about the business, but they had the belief in themselves to bring a team with them. So it's like everybody can learn and succeed together. So that's the attitude I would teach my old self. It's like, bring a team and y'all all learn together and build a business together. That's how people get wealthy in America. They get a good team and they build wealth together.
Which, by the way, people like when Greco came on and they were killing it, everybody wanted to know what he was doing, how he was cheating. I figured it out. All right, everybody write this down. Here's what Nick Greco did to cheat. He went to A View from the Edge a bunch of times before he came here. You know what I'm saying? Like he put all that self-development into himself. That's why you've got to get to A View to the Edge, and you've got to get more people there. Because I'm telling you, that's how you. I'm just when you talk to those guys that have been to A View from the Edge, and you like, if the video gives you chills, talk to them in person about how powerful that event is. But I'm just telling you, do what Nick Greco did, get a bunch of people to A View to the Edge. Sorry, Jeremy, keep rocking. You got me triggered there. I wish View to the Edge was tomorrow. Can you tell?
Yeah. And another thing the last thing is get coaching. Like coaching is so important. Talking to you, Stephen, about the 75 people, my goal is 75 people at A View to the Edge. And so I have to get coaching to do that. Cause the most people I've had an event is maybe 25 max. So to go from 25 to 75 is a big jump. But not really. So if you get good coaching and you listen and you do so pretty much I just need to do what I know I need to do and then stick close to Steven, stick close to Andy and get good coaching. It's like it can happen. So I would tell the old version of me to get coaching sooner. Like Mimi was saying, why figure it out yourself when you have a coach? Like some people, like I used to go to the gym, toss stuff around, I didn't know what dumbbells to pick up, so I had to hire a trainer. But now I'm more focused. He tells me what to do, but now I know how to work out. Like some people just don't know how to work out, but now since I hired a coach, I know how to work out. So building a business, you need a coach building a business. You need a coach for everything. Hey, Michael Jordan has a coach. He was the best at basketball. Like, why do Michael Jordan need a coach? Because he has to stay the best. He has to get better. So get coaching sooner.
I love it. I love it. And I had an idea too. This just came to me. Like first we should build a time machine. But until we get that built, everywhere we travel around the world, let's find us a forklift to get a picture of us at a forklift. Like, I think that'd be awesome because that's so cool. Like, your journey to me is so inspiring. Forklift driver to where you are, that's inspiring. I think that'd be awesome. Hey, and we'll find an air conditioner for me to work on in every country we go to too.
Yeah, I'm with you, bro.
That was some good stuff, man. That was some good stuff. I cannot wait to go to Ireland with you. It's gonna be a blast, bro. I cannot wait for you to be there. All right, we want to get dialed in specific technique now. Okay, so this is the question where if you've got anybody that's not on this call, get them on this call, because what we want to do is share specific techniques and things that we have learned along the way that will help you sell more. All right. So here's my question for each of my panelists. We'll start with Adam. We'll go to Mimi. We'll go to Jeremico. Okay. Here's my question. What are some techniques, turns of phrase, or strategies that have absolutely increased your production? So what are some techniques, turns of phrase? Marcus Richardson had some great turns of phrase in his talk. Those kind of things, right? Or strategies. What have you picked up that you were like, this one thing, I made more sales? And share as many as you want. I know Adam's got something he's going to share with us. He's going to do a screen share. So if you're eating a sandwich or something, put your sandwich down, pay attention to this. If you got someone that is not on the call, but they're in the field, be like, dude, just watch. You got to watch this. When he showed me this, I was like, God, that's so simple, but it's so brilliant. So Adam, light us up on those techniques, turns of phrase, or strategies.
Okay, very good. So before I get to the hack I'm going to teach you, I'm going to share something else that I learned when it came to techniques that really helped me out a lot, and that is how to overcome objections. That's really key. How to overcome objections, because you get a lot of objections, conversation stoppers, things that are, folks are they're in their comfort zone. They don't want to be out of their comfort zones. So they shut you down, even though the whole reason why you're there is because they asked you to be there to begin with. They're the one who sent in the form asking for someone to call them and come to their home. So how do you overcome those objections and get people out of their comfort zone? Number one, be agreeable. Be agreeable and say things like, I agree. I appreciate that. You're right. Don't take on an adversarial tone with people. Just because they're shutting you down, don't take it personally. As they say, get over yourself. It's going to be okay. But just be agreeable instead of being contrary. Be agreeable and just simply say, I agree. I appreciate that. You're right. Number two, mirror their expressions. This is a big one for me. Mirror their expressions. So when they say, I'm not interested, I say to them, got it. Definitely. You're not interested. I'm going to write that down. So you're mirroring what they're saying back to them. And that tends to disarm people. But you notice there, I didn't say, why not? Why are you not interested? Because I have found that people then get defensive and it puts them on their heels a little bit instead of keeping the conversation open. So I don't say, why not? Because when you mirror their expressions, what that allows you to do is really build a bridge. It allows you to get to where you want to be from where you are. And you're doing that not to make a sale because you know it's in their best interest. It's for their benefit. And so mirror what they have to say. Don't fight with them. They're trying to stay in their comfort zone. Don't let them. Try to help them get out of their comfort zone for their benefit. And then next, assure them. That's the third thing I've learned. Assure them. Like for example, when they say, "Can you send me more information?" Or can you come back another time because I want to think about it? I say things like this. Absolutely. Absolutely. I can send you more information. That's actually what I'm here for. That's what I'm doing now. I want to give you more information. And then that shifts into redirect. And the words I use to redirect are and more importantly. And more importantly. That's key. So what I say is, well, I'm here to understand what information to send you. You want more information? I need to know what information to send you. And I found that the best way to do this is by having a quick conversation, just like we're doing now. We're getting some information, and then I know what information I need to share with you, so it's personalized to you personally. I want to help you. And if I can help you, then I want to point you in the direction of someone who can. And that tends to really disarm a lot of people, when I approach it that way. So that's the first thing I've learned over the past year. The second thing is a hack using the app Route for Me. Now, I didn't find Route for Me on my own. It was actually something that was shared with me by someone else. It was Vinny. And I think Tim Long also mentioned it to me early on also, because Tim and I were working in a very similar areas. I was doing a lot of Cobb County, Georgia. And
All right, time out.
Yeah.
Time out. I just want it, so if anybody heard that and goes, oh, I already used that for my door knocks. That's not what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. So I don't want you to tune out what he says next, because you go, oh, I already used that for my door knocks. Because we're good. He's going to show something that'll help you at a next level with it. All right.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So that's early on. I was using it as a very basic method, just simply to know where I needed to knock on doors in relation to where I was physically in my territory. See, my territory that I was working early on was Cobb County. It's got 1 million people in it. It's the largest county in Georgia, and it just covers a vast area. So what I was doing is I was crisscrossing the county all day long, facing traffic, getting frustrated, getting behind, I was late for appointments all the time. I was burning a ridiculous amount of gas. I was coming home at like 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, just exhausted, and not had covered, got much accomplished like I wanted to. So Route for Me helped me out a lot, because I was able to enter in all my leads into the system. I started with my home as my departure address, and then I entered all my leads one by one, and then I'd optimize them, and it helped me out a lot, because if I had someone who stood me up, I can look at Route for Me on the map, and I can find a number to door knock very, very quickly to kind of make up for someone whose appointment I missed.
Time out again.
Yeah.
If you're listening and you think, oh, I already do that too, stay with it. We're going to show you one more thing that I think is really cool. Like, if I had this, but go ahead, keep going. I don't want anybody to tune out going, oh, I already do that.
Right. So next, I realized, okay, this app is helping me out a lot with my door knocks, but I was still finding myself running behind my appointments. So I thought, can the app teach me or help me to do something else that would make me more efficient at this? So what I do, let me share the screen with you here. I think this is going to help you visualize really what I'm doing. What I learned is that not only can I look at the map and see who I need to call or who I can door knock next in relation to where I'm at in my county, but I can also use this route to make my dials. So what would happen is I could call in relation to where I live, stop 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's say I call 20 people and I make 5 appointments or 10 appointments. Well, now what's happening is I'm only staying in one section of the county all day long. I'm not crisscrossing the county, chasing my next appointment, fighting traffic to get to my next appointment. I can actually do my next appointment relatively close to where my previous one was, because I called them in the order that they appeared in Route for Me. So what ended up happening was, at the end of the day, instead I would come home and I would actually have doubled my workload, my appointment load, because I was now on time for most, if not all, my appointments, number one. Number two, I saved an extraordinary amount of gas. And because I saved a lot of money on gas, then I could buy more leads. I had more money to work with my budget. Number three, I would come home and I was not exhausted because I was fighting traffic and driving all day. So I had more success. I saved myself money. I wasn't putting a ridiculous amount of miles on my car. It was just a win-win. So it wasn't just for door knocks. This app also helped me to use my appointment time much, much more wisely. And I would stay one section of the county and be effective working that area instead of crisscrossing the county all day long.
I love it. I love it. That would, and so using that, you're using that as a guide on your dials. That's key. I'm telling you, like when Adam was explaining this to me, I was like, oh my God, I can tell you how many times. Mm-hmm. Like in my county, in Buncombe County, I would have an appointment in Fletcher. And then my next appointment is in Bernardsville, 45 minutes away and across town, and hopefully traffic doesn't hold me up. And then my third appointment is over in Candler. So that's another 35 minutes a different way. And I was like, dude, if I'd have loaded them all up and dialed them in that order. Now don't say, okay, I dialed that first one. I dialed the second one and they weren't home. So I'm going to wait till I get that person. So don't do that. But what it is helping you dial them in a more logical order, because if you make enough dials, you're going to book appointments. That way the appointments are booked in a closer to each other fashion. You can get more in the course of a day. I'm just telling you, that was brilliant.
There's one more little tip. There's one more tip here, Stephen. Once your leads are all optimized and they're assigned a number, write that number in pencil on the top left or right side of the lead, and then put them in numerical order. And the reason why that's key is then if I have like 100 leads in Cobb County, for example, I can actually number them in my stack. And then if I decide I'm going to go call on lead number 20, I don't have to sort through it trying to find that address. All I can do is just simply turn to page 20 and take that lead out. So now I'm not wasting time in the car trying to find that lead. I was able then also to get more door knocks in throughout the day because my leads were also numbered in order.
I love it. I love it. And Mimi talked about staff. So guys, if you're out there and you're this would be something I would get your staff to watch this so that they can optimize that stuff for you and set you up for victories. When he shared that with me, I was just thinking through all the times I crisscrossed counties. I remember I was in selling production out in Oregon, and how many times I ended up bouncing between different parts of Portland, and then it was like I was always running behind. So I love it. Thanks, brother, for sharing that with everybody. And that's one thing I respect a lot about Adam and really all the people on my team. We're going to share every strategy, but we're not afraid of sharing strategies because we know we got heart and we know we're going to work hard. So I appreciate you sharing that strategy. And if you hadn't been using that tweak, I'm telling you, you'll be able to get in an extra 3 or 4 appointments a day, maybe an extra 5 or 6 a day, and you will be extremely productive every minute you're away from the house. I love it. All right, Mimi. Let's talk strategies. Let's talk techniques. Let's talk turns of phrase. Let's talk all that stuff.
Awesome. Well, that was a big tip right there that I don't give. I love it. That could be.
Did you know about that, Mimi?
No,
I didn't know about it either.
Route for me, but I didn't use it how he's saying to use it.
Yeah, it's ironic how brilliant stuff can make you feel so dumb.
Yeah.
I was like,
I didn't know that. Thank you, Adam. I appreciate that. Well, techniques. So I'm gonna start with your own mindset, Stephen, because I believe we the ones stopping. A lot of time we stop the clients from buying because we don't believe in it. Okay, that's why right now, Stephen, with every agent in my team, you're getting a policy on yourself. You're gonna be your first client. Because you have to believe in what you're selling. If you don't believe in it, you're not gonna do well. How are you gonna convince somebody to buy a policy when you don't have one yourself? That's when you don't believe in what you're doing. You don't believe it's important. Then how are you gonna show that? The clients can feel your heart. They can feel it when you're faking it. So you have to believe in it. I'll tell you a personal story. I had to believe in final expense myself I don't have a final expense plan. I have a lot of insurance, but I had to believe in it, Stephen, because I was having a hard time selling them. I thought they were too expensive. Too expensive. $240 for $10,000? That's too expensive. But I had to go back. Okay, I might get emotional, but I had to go back and think about when my mom died. My mom died, Stephen, the day of my graduation. Community college graduation, same day. As I'm graduating, she's dying. What did I have? Nothing. I have siblings, but we're not all the same mom. So I was an only child on that department. That was my responsibility. And I'm in college. What do I know? I don't have a job. I don't have anything. So I was thinking about what did I have to do to bury her? How did that affect me in college and all that? So once I got my mind into her death and then the burden, the financial burden that I had to go through, financial expense became my thing. I was like, damn, if mom had a $15,000, $20,000 final expense, I don't know where I would be, because I wouldn't have to put things on credit cards. I wouldn't have to rely on my dad to help out with things. Thank God I had him, but I know it wasn't easy for him. So I had to convince myself what we do matter, and I shouldn't let my own stereotype, whatever, brokenness, stand on the way of the client getting what they need. That's why I say mindset is everything. So that was my first thing that I had to learn, and I'm letting my agent know you're gonna be your first client. If you can sell yourself, your parents, your who you gonna sell? Nobody. So that's the first. Mm-hmm.
And if you have a life insurance license and you die without life insurance, we will talk junk about you at your funeral, 100%. But we're gonna put your license up instead of your picture, it'll just be your license.
Embarrassing.
Don't do that.
Yeah, no. You need to sell yourself something so that way you can sell other people. It's not even about selling. Convince yourself. Go through your own BS and nonsense that you're gonna give yourself, because that's what your client's gonna give you too.
And I'll tell you, policies don't stop.
Mm-hmm.
And Mimi, you work orphan clients and current clients like I do. Mm-hmm. When you say all of my policies are this, they go policies, as if it never occurred to them you get more than one policy. I can't tell you how many times I've sold second policies to someone that before that call was convinced the 100,000 they have was enough, because I said policies. Mm-hmm. 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 Keep going. Sorry.
No, totally. So that's one big thing for me. What we do matters, and then the other thing that brings it home for me is when I had my first death claim, Stephen. It's like, whoa, we're not about sell, guys. We're about helping people. You got to put it into perspective. You got to know what you're doing. Yes, we make a lot of money. We make great money. That's what takes care of me. Got 2 kids in private school, all of that. I'm in California, not in Florida yet. So it's expensive. It will pay your bills, and with some. But if it's about you, you're missing the point. Who's the biggest beneficiary in the whole transaction? The client should be. If it's not the client, then might as well quit or have a change of heart. Because once you put the client, that's when I tell people, don't have a commission breath. Because if you have a commission breath, the client can smell it. And it doesn't smell good.
Nope.
And they're not going to buy.
Yep.
But if you put your heart out there where you make it about them. Stephen, my clients, one agent tried to replace my policy. And then the client was like, no, I have this already. And then she's like, who did it for you? It's like, this lady, she sells you, but she doesn't make it sound like she sells you anything. That brings my next point. Relationship. I have fun with my clients. Like I'm talking to you right now, that's how I talk to my clients. I have fun with them. I find ways where I can bring the point home without sound like I'm too pushy or anything like that. I built relationship. That's my next point. Build relationship with your client. The minute I get inside that house, Stephen, you bet I'm going to find something I'm going to be talking about. As a matter of fact, even on the phone, I'm paying attention. If they had dogs, I was like, where is that dog that's been barking when we were on the phone. I'm going to look for something to connect with them right away and let them talk. That's when I never rush a client too much when they're telling me, let them do it, because pay attention though. Don't shut them down. You have to pay attention when the client is talking, because that's where you're going to know what matters to them the most.
They're going to tell you how to sell them. You just got to listen.
Pay attention. Don't
hey, and
say,
I'll tell you this too, talking about death claims, Mimi. Guys, seriously, every single person out here, hear me. When you file a death claim, get a picture of that family. Keep them where you dial. I'm just telling you, when I look at families that we filed death claims for, it makes me want to make another 25 phone calls. Yep. It gives me just absolute feelings of steel. So when it's always typical when it's someone else's grandma that cusses you out, you know, it's just worse. You know, I mean, someone my age cusses me out. If someone else's grandma cusses you out, that's a little harder to get over. You know, it's like at the mouth you kiss your grandchildren with, lady. I said that one time. It made the situation worse. But I love that. That's some great tips, Mimi. Thank you. Did I cut you off early? Did you have another one? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, be engaged in yourself. Be proactive. Like, don't wait for a client to give you an objection and then you have to overcome it. I don't know if I'm saying that because of my background, but I like to educate people. But you bet on that one, every education has a purpose. So I pay attention to what the client has, Stephen. So that's the art again. Ask questions. I don't give quotes. I solve a problem. That's my mindset. If I go to your house, I need to ask you enough questions so I understand what the problem is, so I can give you a proper diagnosis and a solution, right? Because if I don't know what you have, what you don't have, what disaster you're trying to avoid, how do I solve it?
Yep. It's about problems. It's about problem solving, not product moving.
No, you don't.
Product solving, not product moving.
That's it right there. So be proactive about asking the questions. Instead of saying, what product do I need to learn? You should be asking, what question do I need to ask in the home? I think that's a better question right there for a new agent. What question do you need to ask? How do you build that why? You need that. That's central. If you don't build a why, you're not going to be able to sell. Does that make sense? You need that. And then the other thing I also will encourage people, don't get intimidated when you're in a home, Stephen, because the client already have insurance. Ask question again. What's the purpose of that insurance? They knew they have insurance. They call you in. What was the purpose of the previous one? Why do they want this one? You know what I mean? So ask questions. Don't get intimidated. And if you don't know how to, call someone. Yep. Follow the system. Yep. And it's a numbers game. I remember one time I told you, Stephen, that's when I believe in leads, and I said I'm gonna do $1,000 a week. You said, damn, Mimi, there's a 40,000 in you, crying out. So, and then I did it, but I was having issue with traffic in Cali. So I was like, how do I book all these appointments in a day? You said, that's a good problem to have. They're not all gonna be there. So book them anyways, because they're not all gonna be there. And then some of them are gonna reschedule and stuff like that. So it will work itself out. Now with what Adam was saying, damn, you can book them even better.
Yep. Hey, here's the deal. If you have enough appointments, your reaction to a no-show should be, oh, thank God.
Thank God. Exactly.
If your reaction to a no-show is, no, God, no, you don't got enough appointments. But if your reaction is, thank God, now I'm gonna go get something to eat. Now I got time to take a bathroom break. Let's go. Then you got enough appointments.
Yeah.
I love it. Mimi, thank you. That's some good, specific dialed in stuff. Jeremico, I tell people all the time, like, and I'm telling you, you're like, when I talk to Ryan Lewis, when I talk to the Wright brothers and all their people, I tell them, look, Jeremico knows how to sell. I'm just telling you, he knows how to sell. If you need help selling, he'll get you selling. 12 years in it, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars of commissions earned, world traveled. Give us some stuff you learned over 12 years, brother. Some techniques, some turns of phrase, some strategies. Give us some dialed in specifics, brother.
All right. So specific. So this one thing I learned that totally changed everything. It's the phone script. I had to get out of starting my phone script and asking, do you remember sending this in? I had to get out of that. And then I learned it from Mark Hutchison and Marcus Richardson. So I learned to go all through my phone script. And the first question you ask is, when are you home from work? Or do you have any doctor's appointments tomorrow? Like that, those are the first questions that you ask. You go to booking the appointment. So it's real quick. Hey, Stephen, this is Jeremy Edwards from the Mortgage Protection Center. I was giving you a call about the letter you and your wife mailed in about mortgage protection. It says your mortgage is, you have $260,000 left to pay off. My simple job is to go over the information with you. What time do you get home from work tomorrow? So that's the first question. That changed my phone script because it eliminated me saying, do you remember it? So I asked, me asking what time are you home from work, they just fall in line with the role of, oh, okay, he's coming to see me, as opposed to, do you remember it? Now they have to think about more things. So it eliminates them thinking too much. It's just, what time are you going to be home so I can go over this information? That's the only question you have to answer. And then I got some more later on, but that's the only thing I want you to be thinking about is, when are you going to be home? I'm coming over. So getting that tip from Mark Hutchison and Marcus Richardson was amazing. It was a game changer. It raised my production tenfold. So that's one. Number two, I learned it again. Mark Hutchison and Marcus Richardson. Go grab the policy. I'm going to the bathroom. That was a game changer. Go grab your policy. I'm gonna run to the bathroom. What I found is people typically have their policies in one or two drawers. Most people are disorganized, but most people are not that disorganized to where they don't know where important papers are. So their important papers are not scattered all over the house. It's typically in one or two drawers. So if you assume that they know where it is and you say, I'm going to the bathroom, they just go get it. But if you don't say, I'm going to the bathroom, go get it, and you say, well, do you have your policy available? That's a bad question. They're going to say, no, I don't have it available. No, I can't find it. But when you say, go grab it, it's like they know that you know that it's in the drawer right over there. And so it's just a little mind trick to get people to get out their old policies. Because I've been able to make some big sales off replacing people's policies that when people got junk policies. I want you to get it out. I ran into a lady who thought she had 200,000 and she had 25,000. I ran into a guy, he thought he had 100,000 and it was 50,000. People need to get out their policies. Nobody knows what they have. Even if you do, I'm under the impression that you don't unless I see it. So that was a game changer.
And time out. If you don't know which company's policies are absolute junk, ask someone in your upline. They'll tell you. Like, why is that one that they bought up, that one that advertises on TV, the per unit, why is that garbage? They'll tell you. Here's why. And then you'll be able to have tools you need. Why is this one that I hear a lot, what's wrong with it? They'll be able to tell you that. And I'm just telling you, that's like having a key. That's like having an extra key. But the drawer thing is brilliant. I love it. You're right.
Yep. And the next thing, if somebody calls you the day of, so say you book an appointment and somebody calls you the day of to cancel, or either they text you, like you'll get that sometimes, somebody texts you to cancel. I always let them know there's nothing to cancel. I'm only dropping information off to you. There's nothing to cancel. So I got to get you out of our system, and it works every time. Somebody call and cancel, they go, there's nothing to cancel. Hallie, there's nothing to cancel, Hallie. I'm going to be in your area tomorrow. I'm just drop off this information, and then I got some more people to see. They'll say, okay. Or either via text, there's nothing to cancel. I'm just dropping off information to you. I got about 5 other people to see. They go, okay. And then they'll be there and they'll let you in and they'll forget they ever were trying to cancel. It's amazing. The human mind is amazing.
Let me give you 2 things here. When someone tries to cancel an appointment, I get fired up. Why? Because of one of 2 things. Either one, they've had an interaction with one of those other agents out there. And we all know who we're talking about. Those agents that are just like, they're the sales, just bleh. I mean, they all they care about is themselves. They just go in and try and ram someone into an appointment, ran them into an application. Like they've been dealt with like that. And so I get fired up because if they've been treated that poorly, when they meet me, they are going to fall in love, right? Yeah. Because I'm going to treat them kindly and with respect, and I'm going to come at it from a human point of view, like Mimi talked about. The other reason I get excited, and this is most of the time why, that they try to cancel. They know they're about to buy something. They're like, if we don't cancel, we're going to buy something. I know it. We're going to cancel. We're going to buy something. It's like, oh, you tried to cancel. Mm-hmm. Better get your checkbook ready because we're going to get you covered tonight. I love it.
Yep.
Because ultimately, they know they need it, right? People just, when they feel like they're going to get sold, they start to panic a little bit, and that's what causes that. They're not rejecting you as a person. They're not rejecting the concept. Heck, if they send in a lead, they know they need it. So get excited if someone tries to cancel. That's what I do. I'll be like, ooh, you tried to cancel. Oh, man. Yeah. I got a good appointment coming up. Go ahead.
Yeah, so you're the leader. Lead the way. So if they try to cancel, show up anyway. Just lead the way. And the last point, this question has helped me get more referrals in a home, and it's whose funeral are you responsible for? And so that brings up, they start thinking about.
Time out. Say it again, slower. I want everybody to write this down.
Whose funeral are you going to be responsible for?
That's good. That's good.
That question has gotten me.
Remember what I said earlier about how something so brilliant can make you feel so dumb? I'm over here going, why didn't I ever say that? I've never said that in all my years. That's awesome.
I wrote it. Just by saying that, I helped a lady. Her policy was $260 a month. She called up her son. Just by me asking that question, she called up her son on the phone. And now her son and her daughter will meet me back at her house tomorrow at 2:30. Just from saying, whose funeral are you responsible for? She's like, my son, I don't want to pay for his funeral. Got that joker on the phone. He said, yeah, Mom, I get a policy. I see him tomorrow. I can't wait for that, man. But that question will get you a lot of referrals, and referrals is what's going to fuel your business.
If you can't sell a policy when someone's mama told them they need to get a policy, I don't know what to do for you. That's brilliant, dude. She sold the policy for you.
Yeah.
I wrote it down in my notes because I was like, I hadn't been saying that. I didn't know to say that. Now I know.
Yeah. Because of lack of time, man. That's it, man. I got some more tips. But yeah, that's it. I stop right there.
All right. So here's what I want to do. Round robin real quick as we wind down the call. Look, you guys, appreciate you guys so much. Me and Holly love our whole team so much. We had our biggest month of issue paid production in 9 years in December. Biggest month of issue paid production in 9 years. We've been building something, and we have got some amazing people, and Holly and I love every single one of you. I wish I could have all y'all on the call, but real quick, let's pop through. Last question, because we've got a view from the edge coming up, and I'm pleading with you to get more people there because I want your business to grow. So share one thing that at a big event that thing changed you. I sent that in the list of questions I said I was probably going to ask you guys today. So Adam, give us a time at a big event you went, that changed me.
Mm-hmm. The big thing is what Belle Krause said from the platform at family reunion in 2021. She says, let the ink flow and the paper fly. Don't hold back trying to figure out how to do this. Just get your hands dirty. Get in there, roll up your sleeves, do it. You'll figure it out. You'll learn along the way. But the only way you're going to learn is just by doing.
I love it. Here's the way I operate, Adam. I don't know when what I need to hear is going to be said. Mm-hmm. So I operate almost with a paranoia of keeping myself in the places where things that I will likely need to hear are said. Does that make sense? That's why I wanted to ask this question of all you guys. I love it. And that's a dialed in specific. Thank you, Belle Krause. You helped my buddy Adam. Love you and Jay. All right, let's go to Mimi. Big event. Something that changed you. Talk to me.
First of all, Stephen, this is one thing I learned to believe early on. Someone said it at a hotspot. Big things happen at big events. I just didn't even know what that means. I believed it. Ignorance on steroids, like you always talk about. that's how I was. I just believe what they said because these people were very successful. They say big things happen at big events. You need to be there. I never miss one. I think the first one when I started, I didn't know about. That's the only thing I missed for the whole 6 years. Sometimes it's hard, but I'm always there because big things happen at big events. Just being in the environment itself is gonna do it for you. And then I remember one talk you gave about your conversation with Mark Hutchinson, about his activity and his expectation. That thing is my Bible, because if I'm not making the money that I want, maybe I need to raise my activity or lower my expectation to match my activity. That's the key for me right there. I'm a doer. I like the activity with expectation part. That's it for me. When you said it, I'm like, every day I go by that.
And Mimi, do you know how I came up with that turn of phrase?
How?
I ascended a mountaintop, and in a deep meditative state, the phrase came to me, and I knew that phrase would be the phrase that would help millions of people in the future. Now, let me tell you where I got that. At a big event. At a big event. That's where I got that. I didn't make that up. I heard someone say it at a big event, and I was like, I might need that in the future. And think about it. If I hadn't been at that event, then first of all, I wouldn't have got to see Mark Hutchinson's business explode. And then now Nick Greco and the Guerras, by the way, everybody should know, baby Guerra made the digital photo frame at my house. she popped up there, and I was like, it's like, is that Boston Guerra? I was like, yeah, that little girl's awesome. You wouldn't have all the not only the business but the connection. Wouldn't have got to watch Mark's family grow. Like, all that comes from me being at an event, hearing one thing, writing it in a journal, and then it's in here for use. Like, I wasn't prepping for, like, okay, prep for my meeting for Mark today. Let's see. All right, here's what I'm going to say. Here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to boom, 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 boom. All right. No, it was, let's have a conversation. Thank God that was in my subconscious. Isn't that crazy? That was at a big event. Thank you, Mimi. Big things happen at big events. Let me tell you something. If you're laying on your couch and you have a personal revelation, get some help. Don't follow it. If you're at a big event with positive people, with people that are succeeding, and you have a big revelation, that's worth working on. Jeremico, brother, tell me. Oh, by the way, Jeremico, the stuff you didn't get to, all the techniques that we just ran out of time for, you going to teach those at A View from the Edge?
Yes, I will.
Let's
Fire
go,
up, man. I can't wait.
We did that.
I'm pretty sure you know my topic before me. I'm pretty sure.
I'm so excited, brother.
Yeah, I'm fired up. Man.
So if you want to hear the rest of Jeremico's techniques that he's learned over 12 years, I know where you'll be able to hear all of them. Denver, Colorado, A View from the Edge. All right, Jeremico. Big event, something that changed you.
All right, so when Andy was on stage at one of NatCons, he was comparing real estate to helping an agent. I mean, it changed my whole mind about how to build wealth and just the value of people. Because I mean, you could do brick and mortar, but it's not as fun. So you can make some money from real estate, but it's better to help a family, to help a husband and wife, to help a couple, to help a single person and change their lives. And then you can travel the world and have fun. That's better than owning all these properties and you got to have somebody oversee them and you may not make as much money. Like the money you can make from overrides, from helping the agent change their life, from seeing, it's like watching a child grow, right? Like there's no other joy in seeing your children be successful or grow or like develop a good habit. There's no other joy from that. Like you can't get a bigger joy than that. So in seeing that, like you see agents grow and develop, and you see an agent go from, $20,000 a year to even $50,000 or to $100,000. Like to see that development, to see the wife, to see the look on the wife's face when you make, when you help the husband to become successful, that is priceless. So you can't pay for that. You can't get that through brick and mortar. You can only get that through helping people. So that's one big tip I took from convention.
Dude, that last thing you said, because it's right, it's about what we get to see, and it's about what we get to see others see. Yeah. Like I still watch that video all the time of your girls in their new house. And if you watch that video, the way they look at their dad is like next level.
Yeah.
Like my dad is my hero. You know what I'm saying? I hadn't put all that together till just now. As you were saying that last thing, all those tumblers fell into place, man. That's powerful. And you're right. Holly and I have owned real estate, investment real estate, and we have built our network.
Way better.
This is where I want to be.
Yep.
It not only from a financial aspect, an impact aspect. I mean, you're dead on, and you heard that at a big event. I appreciate you, brother. Appreciate all you guys, man. Like I said, Holly and I love our whole team to pieces. I want to have everybody on, but corporate continues to limit the amount of guests I have because, I usually start bargaining from I would like 48 guests, and then we work down to where we're at because we love our whole team. We're so proud of you guys and so excited about what we're seeing come out of national convention. So here's what I want to leave you with, guys. It's all about taking the excitement that we got at NatCon, turning it into actions and turning it into achievement. I want to end the call where I started the call. I'll be crystal clear. I've been going to these big events for over 20 years. Been going to them for over 20 years, which is an odd turn of phrase to say because I still feel like I'm in my late 20s. Been going to them for over 20 years. That NatCon, that was transformational. I'm telling you. I cannot wait for a view from the edge. Here's what Holly and I want for you from the bottom of our hearts, and that's for the whole alliance. We want 2023 to be the best year in the history of your family. So let's get out. Let's dial in some actions. Let's put some of those strategies into play. Let's get out. Let's get after it, guys. Holly and I love you. Let's get after it.
Record.